As we are heading into the holiday month of December, joining me today, I have David Pollendine. He is the National Director of Development with International Justice Mission Canada, also known as IJM Canada. Thank you so much, David, for taking the time.
Thank you, Sylvia.
So, before we get into this event, can you please share with people who might not know in a nutshell, what is IJM?
So IGM, we are a community of lawyers, investigators, and aftercare professionals, and we work with governments to rescue and restore victims of violence and to actually go after the perpetrators. Our end goal is to restore the justice system. And so we've been able to do that in many countries at the moment. We're working in 19 countries in 33 geographies around the world. And so, yeah, our aim is to awaken. We sometimes talk about awakening the sleeping giant, and it's the sleeping giant of the justice system. And so in a lot of these countries, there are laws that would protect people from human trafficking and slavery, but they're just not enforced often. So it's about awakening that sleeping giant to be a deterrent to stop people from doing things that they shouldn't do.
You've got an event coming up that you're inviting people to. It's called Dressember. First of all,
Yes.
tell us, what is this initiative about?
Well, it's very exciting. So just to say, so Dressember is actually a global movement, and it uses style to raise awareness and funds to fight human trafficking. So this December, there literally will be thousands of people from all around the world, and they basically turn fashion into a force for freedom through this challenge. It began with a lady, and she basically asked herself, her name was Blythe, and she said, "What have I got in my hands?" And what she had was fashion. And so she wore a dress every day in December. This was in 2009. And she raised some funds, and it's just become a global phenomenon. I think to date, they've raised something like 28 million Canadian dollars to eradicate trafficking, and that money actually funds the work of IGM, the work we do in the field to rescue and restore victims of human trafficking and slavery. So I think there's something like 280,000 advocates around the world. So this has become a big movement, and something that I did last year, and it was very exciting. So what you normally do is wear a dress for a day, or if you're a guy, you can wear a tie for a day. We also have a special day. So if you don't want to do the whole of the month of December, you can just do one day, which is December the 11th, and you can wear something crazy. I don't know what I decided to wear a dress up in costume last year. And I basically asked the same question as Blythe: what have I got in my hands? And what I had was a whole walking wardrobe of costumes, which I had used before when I moved to Canada 9 years ago. I ran a theatre company in the UK, and I brought about a third of the costumes, and they'd been sitting in that cupboard doing nothing for like 9 years or 8 years. And so I thought, no, I'm going to get them out and start wearing them. So I did. And so last year I did it for 31 days, and I'm going to do it again this year. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Okay, so really quick backstory. I'm not quite sure why, but dressing up has always been something I've enjoyed doing.
Oh,
Grade 11 and 12, every Friday, I ran something myself called Fashion Friday, where I dressed up.
oh wow,
And
this is amazing.
now I wish I had done it for a good cause, because this is way more important. But when you were wearing these costumes that you brought over, which
Oh
I love, by the way,
yeah.
I got to know some of the reactions people gave.
Oh yeah, quite shocking. So I didn't always dress in them in public, because sometimes there's just nobody. Like when I work in my office here, I'm on my own, so I'd be dressed on my own. But sometimes when I was going to a public space, I did do that. And so one of my attires was as a 18th century ship's captain. I've got this wonderful tricorn hat with feathers and wonderful big jacket, and I've walked. That probably got the most reaction actually when I walked through spaces. People just looked. It was just very, very amusing. Another one was a policeman, an old sort of 1900s policeman, big long police coat with a big sort of top hat and a whistle. And again, that one sort of did catch people's idea. They were kind of worried, is he really a policeman or what? So I had to explain to some people what I was doing. But no, and the great thing is when you do it, you know this, Sylvia, when you put a costume on, you kind of become the character and you kind of just feel you embody the character. So I've just brought two things. I've got a World War One hat here. So I dress as a World War One soldier. That's another one. And because I'm an Englishman, of course, another one I do is the old English bowler hat with the suit. So but it's a lot of fun. And do you know, Sylvia, I would love, I don't know if we can say this, but one day I would love to come to Stitchford and just meet you and we'll take a picture together and
I
you
love it.
dress up. Why don't you dress up as something? I'll come in one of my costumes and we'll have a photo and I can put it up on my
Yes,
social media. Yeah, that'd be
I'm
great.
totally in. I'm totally
Okay.
in. I always want an excuse to like dress up because I have some dresses that just sit in the closet, like you
Yes.
said. It's like 8 years goes by and you're like, well, I can't wear it again. So yes, I'm in.
No, honestly, do it. And sometimes you can't wear it again because you've grown a little bit. So that's the other challenge. Yeah.
I would love to know how can people get involved in December?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two ways. One way is actually to donate directly to my what I'm doing. That'd be wonderful if you could support me. And so you just go on to IJM.ca/Dressember, double S, Dressember, and you can support my kind of Dressember challenge. Or you can do it yourself, and you can just sign up at that same. You look for David Pollendine, and you can find me that way on that website. But the other way is just to dress up yourself, to do it yourself, and dress up in a tie. You could do it for one day. You could do it for every day. You could do it for just a short period of time. Last year, Sylvia, I raised not a staggering amount. I raised $2,000, but I joined a team. We had a team, and our team raised $15,000. And it was really encouraging because that's more than a rescue. That's more than putting on a rescue for people in slavery. So that was just very exciting. And I was just very glad to at Christmas, the time of year when often we're just eating and we're spending lots of money, and just to be able to give back something in that way was very special. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and talking about Dressember and how it's not just for women. Is there anything else that you wanted to share today?
Do you know what? I just encourage people go onto our website, IJM.ca. There is a story there about a man called Apo Rao, and I won't go into the whole details of the story, but this is a man who basically was enslaved for 22 years. And this December is my 22nd anniversary of being married to my wonderful wife, Irfana. And we were actually married in South Asia, so not that far from where Apo lived, but 22 years in slavery. And, you know, that is the reality for 50 million people around the world who are trafficked into slavery and experience violence and different ways that stop them from leaving. So yeah, I just encourage people go on to the website, read Apparau's story. It's a wonderful ending. It ends really well. And we'd love that to be true for every one of those 50 million people around the world, that we could give them that happy ending, and especially at Christmas. So I encourage people to engage with this because it's a lot of fun. You won't forget it, and it's all in print because you've got to put those pictures up on online on social media. So
Fantastic. Well, thank you for your heart and your passion, David. It's always a pleasure.
thank you, Sylvia. Appreciate it.